Well, good morning, beloved ones. Yes, turn to your neighbor and tell them, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. Yes. Source and synchronicities. The pathway, a pathway to healing, wholeness. Last week, if you recall, I talked about our amazing ability to tap directly into the source of all being, to go directly to the source. And whether you call that source God, the divine, or presence, or creator, it matters not what name we choose, because the truth of the matter is that when we connect to that source, when we have a realization that we are in fact one with all that is, one with God, one with the presence, one with source, one with the creator, one with the divine, then everything takes on a different shape, takes on a different feeling when you recognize your oneness with the divine. Very often we sing, I behold the Christ in you. You see, we celebrate our oneness with the divine. And in New Thought and in Unity, we celebrate our divinity, knowing that we are more than just mere human beings, that we are spiritual beings, right? Spiritual beings having a what? A human experience. But that we are divine in nature. So we celebrate and we acknowledge our divinity. Yet the question that I ask is, while we are celebrating our divinity and singing about our divinity and beholding the Christ, are we really living it? That's the question. Are we actually a conscious reflection of the qualities and the attributes of divine life? Are you actually a living demonstration of the truth? Is your life showing up in a divine way? Or perhaps is life for you a bit of a struggle? Are your desires, your intentions, your wants, your prayers, are all of those things, your longings, are they met or yet to be met? Do you lack a sense of peace, true inner peace? Is there harmony in your relationships? Are you prosperous? Are you whole and well? See, everybody wants all of those things. We want to have harmony in our relationships. We want to be prosperous. We want to feel whole and well and holy. We want to know that our needs are met whenever we have a need. We want to know these things. We want to know that we have a sense of peace, that the peace of God that indwells us brings about peace in our experience, in our family, in our relationships, in our job, in life itself. We all want these things, do we not? So just Bev and I think Earl. Bev and Earl, you shall get the greater portion. We all want these things, do we not? Yes, we do. Don't sit there and act like you don't want it, because you know you do. We want to be blessed. We want to feel fulfilled in our lives. But all of these things that we are desiring are more than just pipe dreams. Because we dream of being prosperous. We dream of being, right, feeling successful in whatever we do. But these things are more than mere pipe dreams. They are more than just idle wishes, because they are within reach and they are truly at hand. Remember last week I said that the kingdom of heaven was what? At hand. The kingdom of God is at hand. The kingdom of good is at hand. It's within your reach. In fact, they are right within this field of possibilities, the field of divine consciousness that we spoke about, the field of divine energy. They are present. Everything that we are seeking and desiring is present in this wonderful field of possibilities. And I said last week that all that is needed is for us to be able to sync our consciousness with the source, to sync our thoughts and feelings with the divine presence that is within us. And I shared with you that one way to do it is through this meditation technique that I spoke about called soul sync, the soul sync meditation that I learned when I was in India at the O&O Academy. And by the way, we'll have another soul sync meditation, mass meditation on July 21st. We'll have monthly ones up until November. But in a nutshell, this whole soul syncing meditation is about us syncing and linking our consciousness to the source. And that when we dwell in that vibration from a heartfelt connection, right, from a conscious connection, that all of a sudden our intentions and our desires and our visions of good become manifest. They become a living reality. It's very parallel to Jesus' statement when he said, "Ye shall seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then what? All of these things will be added unto you." When we truly seek, things are added. And I put this morning, when we seek, we sync. Because when we are syncing with the divine, connecting, that's the deepest level of seeking the presence. See, sometimes we get confused and we start looking for God somewhere out here, somewhere up there, somewhere. We're looking for God, looking for our good. When the good that you are seeking is in the very presence of your being. It's in the very breath you just took. And so what we want to do instead of seeking out here is we want to sink within. Because the presence of the living God is within you. The good you're seeking is present. We just need to sync our awareness and our consciousness with that presence that is God. That is the good. So to seek is to sync. And when the two are meshed up, miracles happen. Blessings come. Fulfillment takes over our lives. Grace shows up. The right thing at the right time, synchronicities happen. And synchronicities is just simply the outworking of God at the right time, in the right way, and in the right place, in your situation and in your circumstance. You may call it synchronicity. We just call it the presence of God showing up on time, right when you need it, right? And so this whole thing is about how are we working? How do we sync? It's called the soul sync meditation. The soul sync meditation. We in Unity and New Thought define soul as being the sum total of your awareness, the sum total of your consciousness. Now, I know there are other definitions for the word soul in many other traditions. Everybody has their perspective. So, don't have to get upset if you say, well, I learned that soul is this. I'm just giving you a perspective. Unity's definition, a New Thought definition for soul. It is the sum total of your awareness, your consciousness, meaning it is the accumulation of all the thoughts, feelings, words, perceptions, values, attitudes, beliefs that you may hold in your awareness and in your consciousness. That equates to your soul. Is your superconscious, subconscious, conscious, any other, unconscious, all of that. Because where we live is within the soul of our being, in our consciousness. And so this is important because the quality of your life and your experiences are going to be a reflection. They will reflect in your soul. So the quality of your life experiences are a reflection of what is taking place, in your soul, in your life. So when you look at your experiences, don't blame the experiences out here. Take a moment and see what are you reflecting inwardly. Because this is the truth. The health of your soul or your consciousness will determine the health of your life. So are you whole and well? How is your life showing up and out picturing? Are you whole and well? Are there areas of your life that are in need of healing? See, because there's always some facet of our lives that we need to be to experience a sense of healing, because we want to be clear. We want to make sure that our consciousness is clear, so that there's no obstruction, that there's no anything to block this flow of the divine grace, to block the goodness that we're seeking from coming through and to us. And it's not because God does not choose to give it to us. Grace is flowing, good is flowing, but if our consciousness is clouded with all kinds of unnecessary things, it is hard for that good to make its way into our life as a manifestation. So we want to make sure that the consciousness is clear, so that we can have that deep connection to our source. So you want to check out some things. You want to check your level of wholeness on several planes. You always want to make sure and check the level of wholeness on the physical plane, on the emotional plane, on the mental plane, and on the spiritual plane. Because we have all experiences in all of them. We have physical experiences, emotional experiences, mental experiences, and certainly spiritual experiences. And when we have a challenge or a problem or a situation in any one of those areas, it could be that the divine is calling for your attention to actually raise your consciousness a little higher. So not that it's anything that you are doing, but maybe there's something showing up to raise your consciousness a little higher. You see, problems and challenges are just signals. That's all they are. They're signals that your consciousness may need a little adjustment. You may need to see something a little differently. Or maybe you need to change your perspective about something, your perception. Or maybe you need to change your thinking. Or maybe you need to change your attitude or your belief. Something is getting your attention. We call it a problem. So instead of getting focused on the problem, start thinking, wow, what is this signaling to me about my life? For example, if your emotions are limiting you in any way, it might be time to bring them into balance and to make sure that they are connected to some higher expression or some higher quality of spirit. For example, if you're consumed with anger, you might need to ask the Spirit to temper the flood of anger so that it might simply become just a little annoyance. You know what I'm saying? You can move from anger to annoyance in a heartbeat when you have the proper expression. When you're bringing light into a situation, ask for light to be shed upon your perspective so that your understanding begins to change and is elevated. And when your understanding is elevated, your emotions become better and balanced. Or maybe you're in need of some physical healing, right? You might have a physical need, and that might be signaling you to give more time and attention to the physical side of life. Time to honor your body and its needs. We can't be so heavenly minded that we are no earthly good. Sometimes I forget that I am inhabiting a physical body and that it needs food, proper food. Ask my mother. I live on my chewy bars, my potato chips, my popcorn. But sometimes I must recognize that the body needs sustenance and nourishment. And so sometimes we may get that signal in the form of a physical condition that it is time to honor the body. Or maybe you're struggling with some mental capacity. You're on mental overload, not experiencing any peace of mind. And it might be then time for you to look at the quality of thoughts that you've been holding in your mind. Maybe you held too much negativity. Maybe you have too many error thoughts in consciousness. Maybe you're worrying too much. Maybe you have too much excessive thinking. And it may be time to give all of that up, give all of that a rest so that you can bring your mental capacities into balance. I was thinking about what does it mean when we talk about healing? healing on a certain capacity, especially the mind. And this is what Mr. Fillmore says in the Revealing Word. He says all healing is based on mental cleansing. So if something's showing out there, the mental cleansing, when the mind is free from error thoughts, harmony in the body ensues. Permanent healing is never accomplished until the mental cause of the dis-ease or the error thought is removed. Permanent healing. And so, we can all generate temporary healing. We can get temporary fixes, right? We pray for something and it happens. But if there is not a shift in your consciousness, that thing, that condition is going to do what? Come right back around again, because there hasn't been an inner shift, an inner change. You haven't healed your consciousness. You did it for a moment, but permanent healing takes mental cleansing, all right? And then it says here that Jesus was a true healer, and when he cast out the error that caused the condition, he said, sin no more, lest a worse thing befall thee. And the thing was caused by sin. And we know in New Thought that sin is just missing the mark. It's holding error, false thoughts, error consciousness, error thoughts. I don't have enough. I'm not enough. There is not enough. See, the world is terrible. We're all going to go to hell in a handbasket. Oh, my goodness. Look what's error thoughts. So we cast out those thoughts, cast out that sin, and that's what Jesus said. And he said, and thus, when that happens, the true way to heal is to find the mental cause and then destroy it forever. So we might have some physical things that we're working on. And then he says, healing, the first step in all spiritual healing is to believe. So we might have to cleanse our mental capacity of lack of faith. We want to be healed. A lot of times we pray for healing, but you don't believe you're going to be healed. There's too much doubt up in there, too much worry, too much all of that stuff. Well, then don't pray for healing. You ain't ready. Because somebody said it this morning with the song, Jesus said, your faith has what? Made you whole. Your faith has healed you. So in healing, and healing is just a restoring or bringing back into perfection, all about whether it's healing on the physical, healing on the mental, whatever, but it is bringing back into alignment the perfect expression of who and what we are. So it says the first step in all spiritual healing is to believe. The next step is openness and receptivity to the stream of healing life. You got to be open and receptive to be healed. And when you are open, when you begin to open your consciousness to that healing stream of life energy that's always present, and it's unobstructed by your lack of, your doubts or your fears, then it moves quickly and fully into your being, and permanent healing is able to take place. So through the exercise of faith, this is what Fillmore says, through the exercise of faith and our words, our speaking the word, our spiritual quality is fused into unity with the power of Christ, and the work is marvelously accomplished. So we begin any type of healing, which means wholeness, by getting our consciousness in sync, cleansing our mental capacity as well. So regardless of what we may be facing, whatever you're going through, the need is for you to see it all good, to think it all good, to speak it all good, to think God, to check your consciousness and change. So I have a phrase that says check and change. Check and change. Whatever it is that we are, whenever something is showing up that is not what I desire, I need to check and what? Change. Check and change. Somebody say check and change. And what are you checking? Your consciousness. And what are you changing? Your consciousness. Check and change. So we've got emotional healing, physical healing, mental healing. We cannot forget to have a spiritual checkup as well. That's a part of our showing up. Do you feel connected spiritually? Do you feel connected to God? Do you feel connected to yourself? Do you feel connected to others? Because the first commandment that we were given is to love God with all of your heart, your mind, your soul, your body, everything that you have, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So are we connected? Do you still hold a vision of God being somewhere separate and apart from you? Distant, when people say, oh yeah, the man upstairs, and I go, where? What upstairs? The Spirit of the living God is here present, for the fullness of God is right here and right now, right? So you're seeking God. You don't have to seek God. You need to sync up with God. Because God is present. Good is present. Healing is present. Prosperity, blessings, everything is present. We need to learn how to sync up with that vibration so that we can experience the wholeness and the fullness of God. To be healed is to be made whole. And wholeness happens when you are bringing yourself into perfect alignment with the truth of your being, with your true nature. And your nature is you are spirit, you are soul, and you are body. The Spirit of the living God inhabits you. You have a soul, a consciousness, a mind, an awareness, and you have a physical body. And this is the process for how things unfold and how to bring, to live a life of wholeness, or holiness, as I like to call it. Your nature, spirit, soul, and body. When you become aware of and have a realization of the divine spirit within you, not when you read about it in a book, not when you listen to me tell you about it, when you have the awareness and the realization, and to have a realization means that it is what? A real experience. When you have the realization of the Spirit of God within you, that spirit then begins to move into your soul. You are spirit, soul, and body. The progression is the realization of spirit. That realization moves into the soul. The soul is your what? Your consciousness, your awareness. And when you become aware that the presence of God is within you, that the Spirit of God is in your soul, then that also moves then into your body. It is expressed through your being, your body, your physical nature, into your world. The body is simply the physical manifestation. It's the expression. Spirit, soul, and body. Spirit touches the soul expresses in the body or the physical world. So you see the process? So we want to start with what? Making sure that we sync with that spirit so that the spirit then moves and it gets expressed. To be expressed means to press out, to exit out. Jesus was an expression of God. A full expression was pressed out. God was pressed out through his being. God was realized through his being. We want to have God pressed out through our being, expressed through our being, through our spirit, through our soul, and then through our body into whatever we are doing, whatever we are experiencing. You see the process? So, but everything is powerful, and it's a holy process. And we have to learn to enter into the Holy of Holies. The Israelites used to have a separate place in the temple called the Holy of Holies. And only special people could go there, the priests. But listen, the Holy of Holies is within you. If you are the temple of the living God, the Holy of Holies is within you. We have to figure out how to enter into the Holy of Holies in our consciousness. And this is what Mr. Fillmore said about that. He said that the Holy of Holies is the most sacred inner realm of consciousness, wherein man comes into awareness of the presence of spirit. The Holy of Holies is the most sacred inner realm of consciousness where man comes into the awareness, the realization of the presence of spirit. When you have that inner realization, you have touched the Holy of Holies. And from that place, from that vibration of being in the Holy of Holies, that's when things begin to manifest. It's in that consciousness that you recognize there is no separation. When you're in the Holy of Holies, you are whole and well, and you're having a realization of God. That's the place where you recognize your oneness, where you recognize the wholeness of life. There is no separation. You are not in want. There is nothing that you could ever want. You then begin to draw the truth to you. It's from that place that anything is possible. It's from that place that healing is able to be established in you. And healing is simply a whole state of being. That God is in your spirit, in your soul or your mind, and in your body. All of it is aligned, perfect, whole, and well. We are meant to be whole and well. We are created holy, whole, and well. There's a wonderful old hymn that I love, and my grandmother used to sing it, and it says a line that says, "It is well with my soul." Some of you know that one, right? It is well with my soul, meaning when it is well with your consciousness, because your soul is your consciousness. When it's well with your soul, then everything else is well. When your consciousness is well, that is, you are now receiving the blessings of spirit, soul, into your body, into your life, into your affairs, in perfect alignment, it is well with my soul. So, I'm going to invite you to, and I'm doing this series because today we talked a little bit about health and healing and wholeness. But we're going to be soul sinking for peace. We're going to be soul sinking for abundance and prosperity. We're going to be soul sinking for harmony in our relationships as well. And this July, we're going to do a soul sink for the miracles and blessings. If you want a miracle, if you want a blessing, if you want something to show up in your life, we're going to soul sink and we're going to come together. Remember last week I talked about the benefits and power of us coming together as a collective, right? A few of you remember? There's power in that. We are coming together. I told you we're here creating a field, a vibration through which great things manifest. And so we're supporting each other. That's what Jesus said, 2 or more are gathered together. There am I in the midst of them. So we're coming together to gather. We're coming to share our consciousness and to link up with each other and then take this whole field and link it up with God so that miracles upon miracles can unfold. So I hope that I'll see you then. And we're doing all this so we can also participate in what's called Source and Synchronicities that will be happening in November. Or maybe you just want to come and practice being in the field of limitless possibilities, being in the presence of the divine with one another. Because now is the time. This is a sacred time. It's a powerful time. This is the time for all of us to shore up our consciousness. We can't be walking around here doing we can't walk around with weak consciousness and weak minds. Right? This time is calling for something else. You're going to have to stand in your truth, stand in your power, stand in the presence. And we have the ability to do that. So we are about shoring up our consciousness so that we can do the work that is ours to do. Because, friends, there are many hearts to touch, and there are many souls to love. Because we got lots of souls that we need to love. We need to send forth some powerful healing vibrations and energies into the world. We are making a difference. We are the ones. And so we do not take it lightly that when we put forth this mighty healing, powerful energy that is of God, and we unleash that in the world, miracles will happen. This is our time, this is our place, so may we all be made whole and well. Blessings and namaste. Blessings. Blessings.